Warm greetings from the high tent. It is Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. This content you're about to hear is pertaining to missing Quinton Simon, who has been declared deceased by Chatham County Police Chief Hadley. I will be playing you two audios from News Nation pertaining to the search for the child, and the fact that Chatham County is building a case against the mother as to make sure that there will be no stone unturned in the investigation to bring forward justice for this child. Hello, everybody in the chat and the viewing audience. Thank you for joining
me. The search continues this morning in Georgia for a missing toddler named Quinton Simon. The 20-month-old was last seen 6 weeks ago on October 5th in Savannah, and police fear the worst. They are now looking for any shred of evidence. Brett Buffington from our News Nation affiliate WSAV in Savannah has been covering this case since the very beginning, and this morning has a closer look at the search.
6 weeks ago, when 911 dispatchers took the call from Quinton's mom, the toddler, or at least that's the story, police were told. The search for Quinton Simon was big. In the air with helicopters and a drone, on the ground with a search dog, police on horseback, and officers knocking on doors. The story Leilani Simon told. In the words of her mom,
Leilani's story doesn't add up.
Since that day, we've learned Billy Joe Howell had custody of Quinton and his older brother. But Billy Joe told us she left the 20-month-old little boy at home with his mom. Billy Joe's husband told us,
there you have admittance by the Bio Grande that she left the children with the biological mother, Leilani Simon, when she allegedly had custody of the children. Billy Joe, why did you leave those children with her, knowing her history? Fraud, fraud, fraud.
Quinton's mom is a liar.
Because she's lied to us so many times. And I don't know, it's just bad to say, but she just likes to lie.
On the day that Quinton Simon was last seen, his mom was serving 2 different probation sentences. Had just been...
1 minute. She just likes to lie. But yet, you all flip-flopped around upholding her. Why the change now? Because you know the hammer is on its way down. Indeed. The hammer is on its way down. And the hammer is not going to care whose head or feet, hands are in the way.
In order to pay child support. And after a fight with her mom, Leilani and her boyfriend, his mom was serving
so many times. And I don't know, it's just bad to say, but she just likes to lie.
On the day that Quinton Simon was last seen, his mom was serving 2 different probation sentences, had just been ordered to pay child support, and after a fight with her mom, Leilani and her boyfriend were being evicted from her mother's house. The police incident report from that fight accused Leilani of stealing money to buy drugs. While Quinton's been missing, his grandmother and his babysitter got into this emotionally fueled shouting match.
My baby's not dead.
His mom was seen out drinking at a beach bar. Protesters got so rowdy in front of the house where Quinton lived that police have essentially made it impossible for those protesters to stay. The biggest question, what happened to Quinton?
The evidence that we have so far, based on multiple search warrants and interviews, has led us to the conclusion that Quinton is deceased.
The story that police have put together, according to Chatham County's police chief, is Quinton Simon didn't wander off. Investigators believe the little boy was tossed in a dumpster like garbage. And for more than a month now, a small army has been digging through the trash in this landfill looking for Quinton's remains.
Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation.
All right, everybody. News Nation is the source. Here in this information, you hear that Billy Joe Howell had custody of the said 2 boys and admitted to leaving them along with Leilani Simon, her daughter. You hear that Leilani was on probation. 2 separate incidents, 2 separate probations. Yet free. Yet free. To continue abusing drugs, neglecting children, abusing children, and killing 1 child. Why is that? Why is that? You also hear the step Paw saying she lies. Lie, lie, lie. Yet you all talked about her like a dog on that news broadcast, then flipped the script and acted like you were in cahoots with her, sitting on your front lawn, playing mind games with protesters, and now the mother has gone to a YouTuber acting as if she's disowned her child and questioning God, why he has so kindly blessed her with 2 murderers, admitting that she has a murdering daughter, unless she's speaking of another child we don't know about. People vigorously on the ground searching for the child. You're hearing from the beginning, helicopters, drones, horseback, officers on foot banging on doors. And all along, these people knew the child was missing, dead. Not just missing, but dead. So I want you to think about that for just a second. You file a false report knowing you've killed your kid, and yet all these different random people that work with these agencies, police, whomever, are searching for your child, and you know where your child is. You know what you did to your child, but you don't care. Let them search. They'll never find him. Isn't that what you were hoping, Leilani Simon? That the child would never be found. And as you hear the chief say out of his own mouth, we've gathered evidence to lead us to believe he's dead. His own words. Because anybody with sense knows her phone devices were dumped. Soon as they got on the scene, they confiscated all of their devices and began dumping them, which means gathering information from Google searches, Google Maps, notifications of locations of wherever she's been, people she's called, apps, conversations, text messages, going out, coming in, so on and so forth. That's what they do day one. And there has to be something prevalent in this evidence for him to say it 7 days later from the day the child was reported missing. On the 12th, 7 days later, he says, I have evidence against this woman, and she's the primary suspect. He didn't stutter when he said it. So why is everyone questioning what he has? I do not know, but I'm a believer. Long-winded, yes. 6 weeks in, long-winded, yes, but I'm leaning on faith and prayer that he will be recovered out of that landfill. Audio number 2, same source, News Nation. This is pertaining to the child as well. Mercy me. How did it come to this? 1 second. Now, if I can find where I was. All right, everybody. Quinton Simon case. Reporter says police building on a case. It's uploaded 9 hours ago, both content. Thank you for joining me.
Been going on for over a month now. There are more than 100 people working this case, including FBI agents from across the country who are specifically trained in searching landfills for bodies, just like in this case.
It is just tragic. Brett, there's been no arrest. There have been no charges. Is the mom the prime suspect? What do police say?
Absolutely, she is. She's the only suspect police have named so far. And there are a lot of people who are asking, we are over a month into 6 weeks into the search since this little boy was last seen on October 5th. There's so many people who want to know. You've named a suspect here, but why hasn't she been arrested? Why hasn't she been charged with anything? Police tell us they're working on building a case. They don't want to prematurely charge anyone in this case because the police chief told me when they make those charges, when they file those charges, they want to make sure they stick.
So where is mom now, and does she have custody of any other children?
We know she has 3 children total. The grandmother, Billy Jo Howell, has custody of 2 of the children. We're not sure about the third one. We've learned from the courts that they did have to go to a custody hearing shortly after this story broke. But we're not sure we understand that the court system here, the DFACS in Georgia, the Department of Family and Children's Services, has removed the children from this home, Quinton's older brother and younger sister. But the mother has been free to roam. We saw in the story that we saw her out at the beach one night. There was one point during this a couple of weeks ago where there were protesters in front of the home. This grandmother, one of the brothers, Quinton's uncle, and friends were sitting out across the street from the protesters chanting back at them.
We focused a lot on the mom and the talk of what she had to do with Quinton's death, but I know you've also been trying to reach out to her boyfriend, and his name was mentioned in the piece, Daniel Youngkin. Where is he now, and what do we know about his possible involvement?
Daniel Youngkin was the last person to see Quinton Simon, according to police. He left the home around 6 a.m. on October 5th. He was going to work. That's the story that this family told the police, and then the police told us. We know that Daniel Youngkin has packed up and left town. The last place, the only known address we have for him, is in Dunn, North Carolina. That's just outside of Raleigh. We sent our crew from the News Nation affiliate there to knock on his door. There were cars out front, but he wasn't home. We do know that he's been arrested at least twice there before. But so far, since October 5th, we haven't seen Daniel Youngkin.
Another development in this case, Brett, that caught my attention as I was looking through some of your reports, the father of Quinton's biological dad, was killed in a hit and run recently. Is that related at all to this case? What do you know?
The police haven't, the last we've heard from the detectives, that's in Burke County. It's about 90 miles northwest of Savannah. The last thing we heard is that investigators there are still hoping that someone will give them a tip. They're still looking for the driver involved in that hit and run, but just the tragedy around Quinton Simon's biological father. He lost his son, obviously. Police believe the little boy's dead in the dump. He also lost his mother just a few weeks ago. In fact, a week before he lost his dad, his mom died, and then his dad had a flat tire on the side of the road, according to the deputies there, and was walking back towards his house when he was hit and killed by a car. Police haven't linked that case to this case, but certainly tragedy just all around for Quinton's father.
Has anybody been arrested in the hit and run?
Absolutely not. We just checked with deputies there last week. They haven't made any developments in this. They're still asking in Burke County if you have any information about the death of this man. The car left the scene. They found the guy laying in the middle of a rural highway, and they don't have a lot of evidence to go on as they look for leads.
Just a big dark cloud hanging over this family. And as we look at these images of Quinton on the screen, it is just so heartbreaking to think what may have happened to him. And then we see this landfill search. It's been going on since October 18th. Do police believe that they will find him there? What is the likelihood, and how long will they continue to search?
Listen, it's very difficult. We know in searches like this, I'm sure you've covered them before, it's very difficult if you're not there just the days after this. If there's not some key piece of evidence that takes you right to that landfill, trash continues to come in. The police have told us that they knew it was going to be difficult when they started this landfill search to find anything. But the police chief says that his officers and this team from the FBI, now the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, joining that search just this week, they all say they are very devoted to continue until they find Quinton's remains. It's not just so they have that key piece of evidence in this case, but it's also so they can take this 20-month-old little boy and give him a proper final resting place.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find new.
All right, everybody. News Nation Now, source number 2. Let's recap what was said in this information. If you need verification, News Nation is the source. Thank you for joining me. The link is in the chat if you want to come up here on this panel and give a opinion pertaining to the information that you just heard. If not, go back to the beginning of the video because I'm only 15 minutes into this live. They're building a case. Audio number 2 states, let's recap what was said. Police want to make sure they get it right before putting out an arrest on Leilani Simon. What all do they have so far against the bio donor? When will there be an arrest? They mentioned they went to the house of Danny Youngkin, who is allegedly the bio father of the baby child, Sky, baby girl, North Carolina. No one answered the door. Was he there? Is he in North Carolina? Where is he? Let's go to the next baby father, which is Bubba Moss. He's Quinton's father. Bubba's father died a week after his own mother, passed away. Hit and run. Father was changing a tire, decided to walk toward his home, allegedly, and was found in the middle of the road, as you hear in this commentary. Who hit him? Why hasn't this person come forward to say? Well, we know why they didn't come forward. They don't want to go to jail. Maybe they weren't paying attention. Early in the morning, I believe it was very early. So therefore, maybe they were sleepy, not paying attention, but still the right thing to do is stop, render aid, call 911. Very suspicious indeed, this man dying on an open road, but it happens all the time because, as I've told many people, in rural parts of America, there are no sidewalks. Usually in the county, there are no sidewalks, also no adequate lighting. So all you have is just asphalt and the grass. So this man was mowed down. No developments in the case, no arrests in the case. Week before that, Bubba Moss's mother died. Allegedly, someone said she was ill. Still all very interesting details considering he lost a child first. Then a mother, then a father. Both bio mom and dad. Very, very strange. You rarely hear a person losing children and parents within weeks of each other. Driver is still being searched. No info. No info also with DFACS, their involvement in this case of the children who are now in foster care. The baby girl and the older boy, which is 3. Who are they with? Are they well? Are they still in the state of Georgia? Nearby Savannah? Where are the children? Hope they're well. You hear this lady in this commentary say there's a dark cloud over the family. Well, ma'am, correction. There's a dark cloud because these people are dark. Haven't done right by the children. So why would anything good come to them and they've had no regard for their children? And some may say it's cruel what I'm saying, but it is what it is. It's not fiction. It's not a make-believe story. Who has all this bad luck in their life for just no damn reason? And I've always said my bad luck comes in 3s. And don't you find it interesting? Bubba Moss, he got it in 3s as well. Just saying. Could this be biblical if you believe in the Bible? Sins of the father. Was God trying to tell him something? You're not listening to anything. None of you are listening. So I can show you better than I can tell you. I won't bring you any luck. There'll be no good luck because you all never cared for the children. Dark cloud indeed over the family. These people are not family. They are relatives by blood only and name only. To Quinton Simon and the 2 remaining children who are now in foster care. The police said they knew it would be difficult trying to find this child in the landfill, and Georgia's National Resources has jumped on board into this search of a baby boy. How interesting. How interesting that another agency has now joined in the search, which shows you they're not giving up, because they were near 2 weeks into searching, beginning the search for him. He's gone a total of 6 weeks from the date the mother put in a report to the dispatch. He's gone, baby, gone. Sadly. But obviously the chief is steadfast on finding the baby and recovering the baby out of the landfill. So he's now called on help to retrieve the child. So this should show you that they're not stopping because of gossip, rumor, theories, Illuminati, cloaks and daggers, and foolishness. They have something on this woman, female witch, and they're not giving up. So if you still are confused about what they're doing in Savannah, I don't understand how you could be at this point. The only thing you could be confused about is why the bio donor has not been arrested. But as far as aid, effort, that has been proven. Has God decided that these people are unworthy of good luck? Each are so-called suffering. Well, one could look at it as this. You are not suffering nothing compared to a man who died on the cross for your sins. If you believe in God and he sent his son here to die for our sins. Nailed to a cross, crown of thorns to the head. What problems do you have? Same thing for that baby. You don't really know what actually happened to him for him to get to the dumpster. Stay woke. So when you cry and moan about God blessing you with 2 murderers, well now, as we would say in the street, it sounds like a personal problem. What does God have to do with that? Not nothing. Made your bed, now lie in it. Why come cry to me? When you failed your children, claimed that you had changed your life, and instead you flip-flop on your daughter, aid her, now turn on her again, and you run to a social media site called YouTube to fan the flames. You don't sound like a grieving grandmama to me. None of you sound like you're grieving. You think God believes that you're grieving? And oh yes, I know. People grieve differently. But there's no way anybody should behave in this manner, considering a child is declared dead without even knowing or seeing a body in the landfill. When will this saga end? How many more news stories are we going to hear, see? How many more shenanigans are going to play out on YouTube pertaining to relatives of the dead kid? Give it a rest. Maybe entertainment to some, but it's despicable to others, such as myself. Because I don't rock with that type of behavior. In no way you can explain to me logically running the YouTube and fabricating information to make yourself look good, your family look good, and then flip-flop and change it again and cry to the Lord on a live stream. Why did God give you 2 murderers? Why not? As I always say to the viewing audience, don't ask why. Ask why not. No, they don't, mister. Why me? Why me? As a pastor on TV once said, why not you? What is so special about you that you are not supposed to suffer? My son suffered, died on the cross, and you're blubbering about your problems. Now, God is in like that, just the Queen said. Because we all do it. Why me? Why me? Why not me? Who am I to get a pass from suffering? Rather, it's I went in the lion's den and put my head in his mouth. I patted his paw, or I was an innocent bystander. Who am I? Who are we to get a pass? It's life. But when you willingly know you have not done your part in rearing your children properly, you failed your children, you've been wishy-washy with your children, deceitful with your children, in and out of their lives, you can't cry later when something goes bump in the night, such as a murder of a baby. You all failed all of the children. It's not just Quinton. It's 2 more babies as well that were failed. You can't have one without the other because they're all brothers and sisters. And you all don't speak of the children as you should speak of them, and they're living. So as I told you all, when you see how people behave when a person is dead, that shows you how they cared for him or her and thought of them when they were alive. So there was not much thought when the child was alive. So therefore, the other 2 are alive. They don't mean nothing either. Think about that. One's dead. He's been utterly disrespected by those bio relatives and general public, people pretending to care, meddling creatures. And then you have 2 remaining that are living, and you can bet your bottom dollar they haven't received $1, a pair of pants, diapers, or gifts from any of the relatives, parents, or the grandparents. How about that? Why not? Because they never cared for the children. As I said, watch how a person is treated in death. You will then know how they were treated when they were living. That's common sense. You don't have regard when they're dead. You didn't have regard when they were living. 2 are living, and bet your bottom dollar there has been no contact with any of these people and those kids, because we don't know what happened in court. Defacts. Did you have an open case pertaining to this female and her biological children? Also the grandmama and grandpapa. And we've gone pretty light on Mr. Howe, but you deserve a dagger as well, sir, because the news is now mentioning you as a co-conspirator on the custody papers. So you are just as guilty to be going out of town with your wife, working, knowing neither of you stayed behind to rear the children. You left the children with a drug addict and an empty vessel plus a boyfriend. And I have to group him the same because he played a role up until his disappearing act. Stay woke. Everything was Gucci up until, hey, grandmama wants everybody out of the house. Hey, want you to pay child support. Voila, missing baby. No coincidence. All orchestrated by Leilani Simon and possibly that boyfriend, Danny Youngkin. I can group him in because he's a no-show. He's a no-show. And he was down for whatever. Just understand what I'm saying now. He was down for whatever before the child went missing. And that shows character. That shows character. You were down for whatever before the child was reported missing. So why would I think you don't know anything about where the child is and what happened to him between October 4th and October 5th? Because you were there all alone. And you're going to have to prove to the queen you ain't got no knowledge of that baby in a dumpster and how he came to be in a dumpster. I continue to say on this network after every video, if you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. It's like you're talking to yourself. Because people just don't care about themselves. So therefore, they can't care about a small person. They can't care about an adult. People pick and choose what they want to care about, whether it be a thing or an actual human being. And these people don't care about anything or anyone. They're just breathing. And many people live like the Howes Simons. They're just breathing. They have no direction. They have no plans on having a direction or goals. They're just sucking up free oxygen that God has afforded them to have without a layaway plan or a down payment. Free city. Do what I want. Say what I want. Come and go as I want. Mistreat my children how I want. And F the rest. You don't like it? Oh well. So what? Deal with it. That's how these people strike me. So what? You got a problem with us. You think we're mangy. We're street thugs. Drug addicts. Criminals. We don't care about your opinion. We are self-serving. So we're not concerned about any of you and your opinions. And that's fine with me because I don't care about you all either. So we're even. Checkmate. 6 weeks later, no recovery of a baby boy. How long is this going to go on? I want to end to it because I don't want to hear any more stories about October 5th, 4th. I don't want to hear any more rhetoric about bio donors and relatives on YouTube channels and their shenanigans and moaning and crying on lives as if they care when I know they don't. And they've shown they don't. Begging for money when they have a job. And then going down in the chat, different people's chat, commenting as if somebody gives a damn. I don't care. Because as I told you, I sleep very well here in the high 10. So you trolling a chat is the least of my worries. Take that same amount of energy and go help out in the landfill. Billy Joel, Mr. Howe, Leilani Simon, your brothers, your sisters, Danny Youngkin, all of you, Bubba Moss, all of you. The time you spend in people inboxes and YouTube channels and Daily Mail articles, go stand your ass out at that landfill and go find your fucking kid. All this chitter chatter. There's people who with blood, sweat, and tears for their missing loved ones. Can't sleep at night, got bags, hair falling out. And the only thing you can think to do is set up on a YouTube channel. But that shows me you never cared for the children. That's the reason why your nasty ass was working out of town. Because you never cared. You lead by example. So you sit up there on that bitch's channel talking all that shit about you changed and you done did this. You ain't done nothing because you got a dead baby. So how did you do any damn thing? Correct me if I'm wrong. I work hard. Obviously not hard enough. You got 2 in foster care and 1's dead. I say you ain't been doing a damn thing but working for yourself and some stupid ass campers. Fuck a camper. Fuck a camper. Swimming pool that wasn't in use, but that's the only thing you could think of after they drained it. Anybody know where I can find a pool guy? Yeah. Go try the pool hall. See if you can find a pool guy at the pool hall. I said it. See, people show you what they're made of. All you have to do is listen to the conversation. My father told me that as a young woman. Let people talk. They will tell on themselves and show you who they are. Just listen. Don't say a word. Don't respond. Don't say nothing. Let them talk. You can learn a lot about people if you just listen. It's like when you're in public and people get to talking about the weather, the Democrats, the Republicans, the this. Don't comment. Just listen. Oh, my foot, my back, and oh, Lord, I need a pill. I need a little fentanyl. I need a little meth. Oh, I snort a little cocaine every now and again when I'm down. And, I sure could use a cold beer. And, Lord, I can't stand my mama, my daddy, my cousin. Just listen. You'd be surprised what you can learn about a person by just listening. So for 6 weeks, I've just been listening to a bunch of bullshit that has nothing to do with Quinton Simon. And that is expected because he didn't crawl into the dumpster on his own. A 2-legged creature put him in there. And 9 times out of 10, they didn't throw him in the dumpster alive. He was already dead. So therefore, I don't need no rumors and rhetoric and theories. I use deduction. You never cried for your child. You never went to the news about your child. You didn't put up flyers about your child. You didn't go door to door for your child. 7 days later, the chief deemed you the suspect, Leilani Simon, and that your child was dead. That was enough for me. I didn't need anything else to know you never cared for your child and your other children. Because if you kill one, you can kill another one. And as I've told you all in the chat, imagine her being around somebody else's child. Some fool would allow this witch to sit up under them with their children. I would never have a baby killer sit up under mine. I don't give a damn if she's related to me or not. She couldn't come around my children. Oh, I don't believe she could ever do that. I know she has problems, but she ain't no baby killer. Bet everything you own. Make a wager. For those of you who are aiding this witch, her and her mother, witch number 2, put a wager on the fact that they would never, ever, ever, ever kill a baby. Put a wager on it and stand on it. Wager everything you got that Leilani Simon is innocent, killing Quinton Simon. Put a wager on it. I bet you there's not one person standing with breath in him or her would wager everything they own on Leilani Simon being innocent. Nobody would wager to say, yeah, I'll give up everything. I know she's innocent. I know she's innocent. Because talk is cheap. You know, deep down inside, she was the last one with that kid, and she harmed that kid. But you don't have the guts to tell her to her face. But my thing is, what do you have to lose? Who is she for you to feel fear to say anything? She's nobody. She's a crumb snatcher, baby killer, spirit breaker, bottom feeder, cesspool. She and her mama, all of them are the same to me. Because if you sit in the pool with them, you're the same. Yes, it has, Patty. See, there's a reason these children are missing and dead. It's the family, not the children. And this is going to continue to happen so long as nasty, ruthless MFs continue to procreate and keep children they do not want. Bring other sickos around their children. It's all the same. You allowed it. You watched it. You know there's something wrong with your kid. But you don't do anything. So you are just as bad as the perpetrator, whether it's a boyfriend, husband, side piece, new piece, old piece. You're a co-conspirator. So you're guilty. Many people have questioned my last live how it came to be that Leilani had these children. Because how do we know she wasn't using narcotics during all her pregnancies? And if the last child was drug addicted, then how would she have gotten the child? One article said she used after the baby. I don't know what's the truth anymore because everybody's writing different versions. And I always told you a story is just that. Somebody's version. So some is going to be some true. Some is going to be false. Some's going to be fabricated. Some's going to be fudged. But in the end, it's just a version. What is the involvement of DFACS in these people's lives? Was there an open case? Was she using drugs with the last little girl or the other two babies? Did these people foolishly give her a child knowing she was under the influence, saw it in her system, and saw it in the child? Because I just refuse to believe they sent a baby home with an addict and saw signs that the child had withdrawals. That would be utterly inhumane. But I do believe all these people are complicit in the death of the child. Whether they actually hurt the child, killed the child, it's neither here nor there for me. You had custody of the children, Billy Joe Howell and your husband, so you are guilty of leaving the children alone, unattended with Leilani. Leilani, you are guilty of harming the child and putting the child in the dumpster. Danny, I do believe something's off with you as well because you stayed along for the ride up until she filed a report for the child missing. And if we're to believe Diana McCarter, you were acting peculiar that morning. Why is that? And all the accusations that Bubba Maltz took the baby wandered off. Diana McCarter, the babysitter, took the baby. Some random stranger that wanted a baby came and took the baby. Then there was Danny Youngkin on the slide tip. He took the baby or hurt the baby. Then there's Paul. You go to a YouTuber and say, the child wasn't left with Leilani. So, Billy Joe, who are you speaking of? Because you're running out of options of who you're going to blame as the killer. Police has extracted everything I've just named. So now you're going to point the finger at your son. He lived in a house as well. Many people feel like he's gotten a pass. Not speaking up, not speaking on what he knows, don't know. So was he in the house October 4th through the 5th? What did he see? What did he hear? Did he question the door being open, door being closed? Is he the one with the app that had the security system on it? What all have you all discussed pertaining to that early morning? And is he also riding the ride with this bullshit? Because as this commentator said in his News Nation clip, the reporter rather, Brett, they all were sitting on the lawn heckling back at the protesters. So who does that? You're so afraid of what they might do to you. You're afraid of the protesters. You're disturbed by their behavior, but yet you would go sit out on the lawn in solidarity, which shows me you like drama because you all's lives have been filled with drama and it's all you know. That is why Quinton is dead and the two other remaining children are in foster care. You have subjected your children to drama. You have lived a life of drama, Billy Joe Howe. It's all you know. And as I told somebody, when they sat on that lawn, they were showing the public that they don't care. Hell yeah, we up here. We're going to sit out here and watch you all make a fool out of yourselves. That baby's dead. He been dead. And so what? What you going to do about it? See, you all don't look at the bigger picture. Queen watches everything. I've said it then and I'll say it now. The protesters didn't prove shit. Because when they went out and sat on that lawn, they were making a mockery of you all heckling. Hell yeah, we know the baby dead and know where he is. And what you gonna do? Nothing. See, you all don't get it. These people are thick as thieves, whether they get along today or fall out tomorrow. They're in it to win. Sickly in it to win. All right, thank you, Newport. Nobody ever cared. That's why you're still talking about Quinton Simon 6 weeks in. They never cared when the children were living. So why would they care that the child is deceased? 2 are now in foster care. And the only thing that Billy Joe Howe can do is sit up on a YouTube channel moaning and groaning about absolutely nothing. And her daughter, quiet as a mouse. Don't you find that strange? The one that's been deemed the primary suspect isn't saying a thing, not a word. Why is that? I tell you all to stay woke. Why is the one deemed the perpetrator quiet? Spoke to the news once, and that's it. Mother standing there, turning her head because she knows she's lying. No more conversation, no more news interviews, no more radio, no more nothing. Yet Billy Joel is the mouthpiece for the baby killer. But she's also a co-conspirator because she neglected the children and went off into the sunset working out of town. She knew better. Some people say, and I've heard this often, if you know better, you do better. think I've heard Dr. Phil say that. That might be true in some instances, but there comes a point in your life when you become an adult that you have to learn to do better, because you're not going to be able to use the excuse, I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. Because when you get to a certain age, that's just not going to fly. Well, he's young. He don't know any better. She didn't know any better. Now you're 30. Still going to keep making excuses for somebody being evil, conniving, swindling, disrespecting people, children. How long is it going to go on that they don't know any better? At some point, they do know better. Whether they were taught right from wrong or not, you will know what you're doing is wrong. Hello, A Balance. How are you? Hit the link, Mr. Balance. I'm not trying to go long-winded this evening because I like my lives to be shorter. But that is a set of information coming from News Nation. That they are building a case against Leilani Simon. And they want to make sure they get it right. But it's disturbing to us as outsiders, those who care for children and human life, that it's unfair to have this person walking around with no cares in the world, which is obvious, and a bio grand playing footsies with a YouTuber and spreading lies. And that is their choice. Because as I tell people, I don't lose any sleep over something somebody's doing on YouTube. That's a waste of my time. If they can sleep at night knowing they killed a child, aided a killer, playing with strangers, that is a choice. Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Mr. Balance. Much love. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, pretty eyes, it's... You got to understand, because if you don't live like these people, you can't understand. That's why a lot of you are confused. There's people like this every day. You should know this now. They don't care. That's why it's so easy to go to Facebook, to do lives, TikTok, YouTube land. I don't give a fuck. I never gave a fuck. And they're showing you they don't care. So what are you confused about? It gets under your skin, of course. But they don't care. Because they never cared. Thank you, Gannon. They don't have to care. It's a myth. You're supposed to care because you're the parent. But people check out from parenting every day. And I think most of you know this from the stories you see, maybe your own lives, your own parenting skills, how you were treated as a child, family members, the way they treat their children. People check out on the daily. And there's times when, yes, it's frustrating to be dealing with a child morning, noon, and night. And God forbid you have a child that has problems mentally, physically. It can become draining. You don't have any help with your children. You're having legal battles pertaining to your children. You're fighting for custody, child support. You can lose your top. But you got to know not to exact the anger toward the children. That's the problem. And I don't understand people who continue to have them when they know they don't want to be a parent. There's no way you can tell me by baby number 2, you don't know this ain't your gig. This ain't your thing. Man, I struggle with baby number one. Mentally, physically, detached. No money, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting high, getting turned up. So why the hell are you having sex unprotected for baby number two? It makes no sense. But you can't make these people understand this. Because they're in their own ideology. They're doing their own thinking. You don't have a dog in the race. So you best just shut up, mind your business. And that's how these people are behaving. Leilani Simon, Billy Joe Howe, Step Paw Paw, they're all the same. That's the reason why Billy Joe has bad history in the child rearing department. So she can't be stunned that her daughter killed a kid. She had to have known something bad was going to happen to those children. It's just only a matter of time. Maybe in her mind, she didn't think it'd be a whole baby dead. Maybe, oh, they ran out in the street, got hit by a car. Don't nobody give a damn. It's all the same. Swimming pool drowning, bath drowning, ran out in the car, ain't feeding them properly, choked on a piece of candy. It's all the same damn thing. You didn't care for your kids. You didn't want to watch your kids. You didn't want to be with your children. The fact that Diana kept the children longer than she should, not enough money, you don't even go to work, and you still let that lady keep your kids. Who does that? Get up in the morning, take your kids to somebody's fucking house at 5, 6 in the morning, knowing you don't have to work. That shows you right there. She checked out. She checked out. She checked out. She checked out. And she's not the only one. Sadly, there will be another checkout bio parent. You will hear a story tomorrow. You will hear a story Saturday, so on and so forth. Because you just have a lot of lonely, miserable vessels who just can't be parents. And as I've said before, it's nothing wrong with realizing it's not for you being a parent. But you need to make provisions, because you can't go forward rearing the children knowing you're not attached or whatever your issues are. You need to make provisions, and you need to stop having kids. That's your choice. That has nothing to do with anybody else. There's no point in having these kids back to back, and you know you don't want to be a parent. And it also goes for males as well. You need to put a condom on. Stop lying down with women and not wearing a condom. And then when she calls you to tell you she's pregnant, now you're feeling some type of way. Oh, it ain't mine. Oh, I know you was messing with Peter, Paul, Dick, blah, blah, blah. No, buddy, you're just in the running as well. So long as you had sex with her, there's a chance the child could be yours. And that's a low blow to deny a baby when you know she hasn't been with anybody else, but you just don't want to be a parent, but you want to have sex. So you need to decide what's more important. That's all you have to do. Stop lying around with different people, unprotected. You don't want children? Take birth control pills and ask the guy to wear a condom. Same thing for the males. Wear a condom. because this has to stop. All these children just running around here basically with guns to their heads because their parents don't care anything about them. And that's a sad thing, sick way of looking at it. But a lot of these children are playing Russian roulette, dealing with their own parents. It's as if these grown-ups are giving children loaded guns to kill themselves because they don't care for them. And this is one of those cases where you have ill individuals who lied down and had children and checked out, and nasty bio grandparents who pretended to step up to the rear of the children and had no intention of taking care of the children. So I believe, Billy Joe Howe, you are a fraud. And I don't know why you went into that court getting custody of these kids, but in the same breath, putting them out with the mother and boyfriend, and then asking the court for child support. See, I believe there's some scheming going on with that, because something is very, very wrong with that whole setup. And I've been trying to put it together the best that I can, but there's something off, because I do believe, and this is before I even knew that this was done on the 28th, I felt like you were getting something out of it financially before I even knew the date that you filed the paperwork. So now knowing that the paperwork was filed 28th, that's just a week before the child went missing, you were stair-stepping all of this with the courts. Child support, custody of the children, and an eviction. But yet you knew you had no intention of raising the children. So how is that going to work? And why would somebody pay you child support knowing you do not take care of the children? So I'm trying to figure out how is that going to work with you and Leilani. I'm going to say this and I'm going to check out of here. Billy Joe Howe, the more I sit and think about these documents filed weeks before, because allegedly she didn't get those papers until the 26th about the eviction and all that mess, it's a wonder you're not in the dumpster. It's a wonder you're not in the dumpster, Billy Joe. Because let's be truthful. If a daughter is brazen enough and sick enough to kill her own kid because she was being evicted and had to pay child support for the two boys, how is it going to work, her paying money, knowing you were not going to take care of the children? See, you and Leilani have been fighting and fussing with each other physically, verbally. And eventually one of you was going to end up in the morgue or a dumpster. It all makes sense now. Because why am I going to pay you money when you have been leaving my children with me? Because they are my children. And we now find out you just got custody of them. So why the fuck am I going to pay you money for my kids? Billy Joel, the more I listen to this content coming from the news, the more I realize you are a really big dummy. See, you thought you were scheming because you thought Leilani was slow, but she upped you one. Are you all listening to what I'm saying to you? She upped Billy Joe one. She said, okay, bitch, I got you. You want to put me out? Me and my boyfriend, my kids. 9 times out of 10, she was already claiming some of them probably on her taxes, Billy Joel and Mr. Howe. She said, I'll kill the kid. I'll show this bitch. I'll kill the kid and she'll be stuck with me because she'll feel bad and won't put me out. Checkmate. Is that how it went, Leilani? You felt ruled by Billy Joel's thumb on your neck for some time. You were tired of her meddling in your personal affairs with your men and your boyfriends. You made mention of that on a TikTok post. You can't roughhouse with your man and children without somebody having something to say. Billy Joel is the only person that you could be speaking of. You didn't mind living for free in her house, but you got tired of her mouth, even though she stayed away for days on end with her husband. But nonetheless, Billy Joel had to come back home at some point, and you were tired of her, just like she was tired of you and your boyfriend. And possibly she was tired of your children too. She wanted her house to herself. She came up in short 2 years, got a man, got a house, campers, a pool, cars, trucks. She wanted her freedom, but she liked the hustle. And I believe at some point she was getting monies for you all or claiming some children. It's something. Taxes, it's something. But shit came to a head when she came home and you all got to arguing over clothes in a washing machine. I don't have all the dirty details. It's neither here nor there. But shit hit the fan at that moment when you say she allegedly pushed you into the wall. So the plot began. She plotted against you by taking you to court and filing all these documents against you and the boyfriend. And you put this ball into motion to get rid of Quinton Simon. You said to yourself, you had to have said it to Danny as well, I refuse to believe that you didn't say anything to him. Because if you're being evicted, he was too. So how could you two not be talking? You had to have told him your plan to get rid of that baby. Just listen to me. It'll work. It'll work. We don't have the money. We don't have anywhere to go. We'll get rid of the baby. Worst comes to worst. We have to leave out of here. We'll just have one kid to pay for. Is that how it went? And then you also knew one kid less to pay for to Billy Joel Howland husband. 2, I'll get this bitch back by killing this baby and she'll be stuck with me with guilt and won't put me out. Is that how it went? Triple threat. She wants me out of this house. She wants these kids out of here, but she's been using me. She's been claiming us, claiming somebody in that house, but yet she got fed up about some clothes in the washing machine. Billy Joel said, the fuck with it. I want everybody out. Going to court, put you out, want you on child support. But Billy Joel also knew she had no intention of taking care of the children. And Billy Joel, that's where you fucked up. Because you went into a court and you fraudulently signed papers for custody and child support when you have not been taking care of the said children. Checkmate. So whether you signed those papers in October, September, June, when you walked into the court, both of you were lying. Because you had no intention of raising the children. So what is it that you're trying to tell us? That when you went into the court to file the papers for child support and custody rights, that you were what? Leaving your welding job? Did you get fired, Billy Joe? Because something about this is still off to me. Because if you came home from the job, then that means you had a job. Let's just hypothesize for a second. You came home, fell out about a washing machine. You filed these papers. She gets them on the 26th. A week later, on the 5th, she reports the child missing, but he's dead. Yeah, it's not adding up. So this goes to show in September, you knew to bring forth the scheme against Leilani Simon. Bingo card. You fraudulently walked into a court and filed papers for children, which is strange because now we have to ask ourselves the ultimate question: why would Leilani sign these papers? Something's very off here. Because if she got papers about the eviction on the 26th, 2 days later, custody papers were signed. So I'm confused at what the scheme is. It's got to be something, pretty eyes, because that's where I'm confused. Leilani gets papers on the 26th about the eviction, but yet the news says 28th is when you got custody of the children. So what did you do to get custody of the kids knowing you weren't going to be taking care of them? So why would you, Leilani, sign these papers when you knew your mother was never going to take care of your children because she lived out of sight? Yes, blackmail, exactly. Thank you. So, Billy Joe, what do you have on Leilani Simon? Because I had to sit here and think about it to put it together. Once again, something is not right with this when I look at the timeline. What do you have on Leilani for her to have signed those custody papers 2 days after she received papers of you evicting her? Why would I give you custody of my kids and I just got papers you're putting me out? That's the ultimate question. See, I listen to everything that's being said. I don't do that rumor shit because that's not where the story is. The story is in what these people were doing before the baby got gone. And I want to know why would this female sign over her rights when she's been with the child all this time, her and the boyfriend, and you have been gone. So what do you have on Leilani Simon for her to give up custody knowing you had no intention of raising those kids, Village Ohio? Ooh, wee, what a plot. And I know you watch my content because you like playing in my comment section. So maybe you can jot that down on a day that you're not geeking and getting high off of meth or crack or fentanyl or heroin or cocaine. Put it down in my chat and let me know, why would your daughter agree to sign papers 2 days after getting an eviction notice? Sign the papers, why, pretty eyes? Because I knew something wasn't right when they mentioned the 28th. Because that's late in the game. And I had to go back on the dates to make it make sense. And something is not adding up with the timeline. You were sneakily running to the courts in September. She gets paperwork to get out your house to 26. 28th, the news is saying you two went into an agreement of custody. So why would I sign my rights over to you and you're putting me out of your house? See, Queen stays woke, Billy Joe. You may think you got you a ally up there in Canada, but she's not very bright because she doesn't like to stick to facts. She likes to aid baby killers and murderers. That's her choice. But see, I watch and listen to everything. I watch everything. And when the news told the 28th, that led my mind to spinning. Something's off here. Exactly. Make it make sense. Leilani, what does Billy Joe Howe have on you? Why did you sign these papers? And we're to believe this is true. Because they also have Mr. Howe's name on there. So, Mr. Howe, you're guilty too. Because you aren't taking care of any children. You're coming and going. Don't know if you still work as a welder or not, or traveling. So why would you and Billy Joe have your names on documents taking in these children, but yet you're evicting her and the boyfriend? And most of us assume the children would have been evicted too. So see, that's off. I'm putting you all out, but I want custody of the kids. So which is it? You wanted the kids or you didn't want the kids, Billy Joe? Dana says a welfare shuffle. Interesting. Such as what? Such as what? A lot of busyness going on today. I'm trying to figure this out. Something's off here. Billy Joe Howe, what were you up to? Yeah, there's something very strange. Thanks, Deb. Something's very strange. File papers to put out Leilani and the boyfriend. And we also thought the children. But yet 2 days later, you and Leilani go into some agreement to transfer custody when you had no plans of leaving your job. Because why would you leave your job unless you were fired back in September? But we won't believe that because you were away working October 4th. So what is the truth? Brenda, the paperwork said the 28th. So I don't know. But something's off with this story. Because I'm trying to understand, why is this woman filing for paperwork to take care of children when she lived out of town? And there's no way I'm going to believe she's going to take all 3 children to live out of town, or at least 2 with the boys, and then pay for a babysitter out of town. That would make no sense. That is the only way it would have worked. She put out Danny, put out Leilani, and then take the children with her. But who was going to keep the kids out of state? Stay woke. Stay woke. Well, Brenda, she couldn't have had custody of the children because she stayed out of town. So we don't even know when she actually started this welding job. But we have enough common sense to know she wasn't around, no matter when she started the welding job. So it's all fraud either way. And as I had gotten information that the IRS were investigating, they came into the picture as well. So who knows what Mr. and Mrs. Howell have been doing and who they've been claiming, what they've been doing. You don't know, see. Well, pretty odds, it still doesn't have anything to do with why Billy Joel would get custody when she worked out of town. These people worked out of town. You want me to believe they were going to take small children to go live in a camper? Somebody still would have to keep the kids, even if they had them out of town. Make it make sense. Why would this girl sign over her rights to a mother 2 days after getting papers that she wanted her out of her house? Make it make sense. I'm going to say this and I'm going to check out of here. Billy Joe, what did you say to your daughter to get her to sign away her rights? I'm going to beat this horse all the way down. What did you say to Leilani to get her to sign over her rights of the boys? Because I don't believe you had any intention of raising the children. So what was the scam? There's no way I believe you're going to take those children out of town and raise them in a camper. That means you would have to find somebody to trust to keep the children. And we know you're not good at navigating babysitters. You or Leilani. So I'm going to ask the question again. Why did you get custody of those kids on the 28th? Leilani, why did you sign those papers knowing your mother did not live in Georgia? Yeah, it's something. Could this be they all was conspiring with one another for some type of financial gain, and they all were in it together? Bingo card. Could it be that? Could Leilani have foolishly signed over papers under a scheme guised by her mother and then realized she made a mistake and realized she had been hoodwinked and bamboozled by the father, stepfather, and mother, and decided to up Billy Joe 1 by killing the kid? Because there's something, as I said, don't register with this switching of custody right before the child went missing. Unless it's more sinister than I had anticipated. So I'm going to say this. Billy Joe Howe, do you have life insurance on Quinton Simon? Just curious. Because I don't trust you. And you've been a schemer most of your life. Because in order to sell drugs, become a drug addict, prostitute, you would have to have some deceit and scheme in you. So I'm going to do this. Are you all in cahoots and collusion to the death of Quinton Simon? Because one would say, well, the story is they got in a fight. She went to the courts. I want them out of here. Or was all this orchestrated? Because what would be even more devastating, besides the death of a child, 2 children in foster care, but I don't believe they needed to be with these people. So I'll say the death of Quinton. What if we find out that all this was planned? All this was orchestrated for some sick diversion of financial gain on everybody involved. Could this be an orchestrated plan by Billy Joel Howe to get some type of monies and she had knowledge that the child would be murdered? Where are we going here? Because there's something off about these filings of paperwork to evict them and then switch custody 2 days after she gets the paperwork to be evicted. It doesn't make sense. That's where I'm having the trouble. Why would I sign my rights over to my mother, my kids over to her, and I just got paperwork 2 days before that she wants me out of her house? Would I be that gullible and stupid to think she's going to take these kids with her out of town knowing she's a welder? Whether she was geeked up or not, I can't see that Leilani would be that stupid to sign over the children, knowing the woman would not be taking care of the children. So was this a scam, some sorts? I don't know. I want to thank you all so much for joining the content. Please check out News Nation. They are the source of the audio that I played pertaining to Chatham County building the case against Leilani Simon and the search continuing 6 weeks later for a baby boy. The Georgia Natural Resources have joined in to help, which should solidify anyone's questions about Chatham County Police, GBI, Sheriff's Department, and other agents from around the United States, plus this Georgia's resource agency coming in to help natural resources. They're serious about finding this child. The search is on, and they've now brought in another agency. So that should lead you to know they're not stopping, and they're going to keep searching for Quinton Simon in the landfill. This is just another sad case of neglected children, children that were pawns. No love for them. And sadly, one is no longer living. But I believe it was inevitable that something bad was going to happen to one of the children. I do believe this was an orchestrated death of a 20-month-old baby for whatever reasons. I believe the mother orchestrated the death of her own child. And I'm starting to wonder if Billy Joel Howe had knowledge beforehand. And I'm not talking about when she came back. I mean before, in the month of September. Because I don't know what to believe at this point. But there's something off with the signing of the custody. It's rubbing me the wrong way. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $Big Angie, 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during my live. Thank you all so much for joining me. The donations, stickers, chats. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. Please be safe out there. Holiday season is vastly approaching. Please be careful when shopping. Put all parcels in your trunk. Do not leave anything out on the seats, floorboards. Do not leave anything at the garbage cans, outside your house, apartment, complex, condo. Do not post things on social media, what you're buying, where you're going, leaving the house for extended time. Be aware of your surroundings. Always have your keys in your hand before leaving the store or the mall. Do not do a lot of late night shopping alone. Go in groups if need be. Just be aware of your surroundings. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this live stream. Prayers for the recovery of Quinton Simon and also prayers for his siblings, that they have a peaceful journey into the world, because they deserve this. They deserve peace of mind. They deserve to be in a loving home. And I pray that the right people will take care of these 2 remaining children. And I pray for all children in foster care and all children that are above ground, because we know that there will be another Quinton Simon, sadly. Sadly, there will be. You all have a wonderful, wonderful morning, and I will talk to you guys later. God bless all of you. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you.